It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. Well, rebuilding has been very slow, whether we're talking about the Pacific Palisades, Malibu, or Altadena. And for some people, the timelines just aren't adding up. And unfortunately, it's not in really a good position for them to wait to rebuild. So they're looking to sell and get out and go somewhere else and start over their lives. The problem is, who is actually looking to buy property right now in a place like Altadena or the Pacific Palisades, considering how long it will take to rebuild? Is it somebody that's looking to move their family there and start over with a neighborhood that's not built yet? No. It's the same people that people like Lindsay Horvath and the LA County Board of Supervisors said that we're going to do everything we can to make sure doesn't come in. The corporate landlords, the private equity firms, and they're buying up a lot of property in Altadena and the Palisades and Malibu. For more, here's KCAL.
Now to a huge concern in the Eaton fire zone. Corporate investors are buying up Altadena properties that some families can't afford to rebuild after the fire.
And they're lowballing them to make matters even better.
KCAL's Cara Fenstrom looking at who some of these corporate landlords are and why there's concern.
This is a map actually of all of Altadena, and you can see here, of all of the lots that have gone for sale, 48% of them were purchased by corporate buyers.
48% of the lots that went on sale in the last 5 months in Altadena went to corporate buyers, private equity firms.
State Senator Sasha Renee Perez says those numbers raise urgent questions about who's buying up burned properties in Altadena. Research by the nonprofit SAGE, or Strategic Actions for a Just Economy, found 45 of the 94 lots sold so far are corporate purchases, compared to just 5 during the same period last year.
This is the first report that's been done on this situation. We've been hearing stories individually of people being approached by corporations, by LLCs, making lowball, all-cash offers to individuals that have completely lost their homes.
The report found two.
It's funny because you remember how much talk there was from not only the DA, but the supervisors as well, that counts as price gouging and we're not going to allow it. Well, that's what's happening.
Completely lost their homes.
The report found 2 firms, Black Lion Property LLC and Ocean Development Incorporated, account.
Doesn't that sound like the company that built the Tagger Tower? I'm sure it's a different one, but they all have these bizarre names.
Account for 11 of the acquisitions, or nearly 25%. Its authors say that suggests a concentrated effort by single investors to gain a foothold in neighborhoods. We tried to contact both companies to learn about their plans.
Yeah, do you think these companies want to rebuild Altadena the way it was? Or are they looking to build up a whole bunch of luxury condos?
We're still working to track down Black Lions owners. A supervisor with Ocean Development told us they do not believe the owners want to comment.
That tells you everything you need to know. Why are you buying all these properties? We don't want to say.
Some real estate experts stress developers could play an important role in bringing in the capital and resources needed for this unprecedented rebuild. And homeowners can sell to anyone they want. Senator Perez says what the governor's office and local leaders want to crack down on are illegal, predatory practices.
We are concerned that our seniors in particular are being targeted.
She says
Well, of course, because if there's anyone that doesn't have 5 years or 7 years to rebuild, it's people who are on a fixed income that have only got 10, 20 years left to go, and they don't know how to deal with this.
She says state officials are working to uncover and prosecute criminal actions.
Please stand with us. Please fight with us.
She's working with local activists, calling for a $200 million investment from the state in a nonprofit land bank.
Okay, well, that's not any better.
The money would fund nonprofit organizations so they can buy and redevelop destroyed homes and businesses.
Yeah. Look, I don't like the private equity firms, but I also don't like the nonprofits. How about we help out the people? It's like that concert for the fire victims. Where did all that $100 million go? It went to a bunch of nonprofits.
The goal, to recreate the affordable housing lost and help preserve Altadena's diversity and character. With so much of the city in ashes, locals know these development decisions will redefine their city. Cara Finstrom, KCAL News.
As much as people want to say that we want to rebuild Altadena the exact way it was, we want to rebuild the Palisades the way it was, when there's sales like this, it's going to completely change the character. But this isn't something that's just happening in fire zones where there's a lot of people that have a lot of destroyed lots. No, this has been something that's been going on for quite a while in some very concentrated places in the state of California, notably San Diego, where last year and the year before, 1/3 of all homes sold went to private equity firms, notably Blackstone. And when you're in the market trying to buy a house, which is difficult right now because of the interest rates and have ability to get insurance, if you're selling and someone can offer you all cash with one of these private equity firms, well, some people are taking them up on it. But of course, the private equity firm isn't buying that home to have someone live in it. They're buying it to turn it into a rental, and they're making money on it. And that takes more and more homes off the market for the people that want to actually live in them. Some private equity firms, they're buying homes to just sit on them. Some of these firms are international. I don't even understand how some of this is allowed, but there's a new member of the LA City Council, Adrin Nazarian. He's the guy that replaced Paul Krikorian.
Get out.
At some point, we're going to have to redo our intro, but I don't want to. It's so good.
I have no idea what your phone number is.
I know. Well, Adrin Nazarian, I don't have a whole read on him yet because he's brand new. But the first thing he wanted to make sure was his issue on the LA City Council was this issue: corporate landlords buying up single-family homes. And he wants to research putting a measure on the ballot next year to ban that practice in the city of Los Angeles. Apparently, this is something he tried to do as a member of the assembly, but it kept getting shot down. I wonder why. Let's hear what he has to say, and then we'll take calls and see what you think about this.
Councilmember Nazarian.
Thank you, Council President and colleagues. Colleagues, I just want to take a minute. I didn't want this to just go out on consent. And instead, I wanted to have the opportunity to speak with all of you about this. And
I wish they would speak to us about everything they vote on instead of just saying, here's item random whatever, we're voting on it, because they don't want the sound of them voting for some of the things they vote on. But this is something he's passionate about, so he wants his voice attached to it, so I'm curious.
Tell you why it's important that we move forward with this. We learned as a society, as legislative body or bodies, what happened in the last economic downturn in 2008, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, wow, we're going way back.
We saw that home prices were going up in 6 and 7. People were investing, and then it was completely devalued because of the bubble. The economy tanked. People started losing homes. Everyone that had made a major investment, by the way, that's the key word here, because when we make an investment, we're making an investment for our future, for the future of our families and of our kids and of our children as well. That's how generational wealth grows. And what happened was when the economy went down, people started losing homes. They lost the investment that they had placed in.
A lot of people went underwater on their mortgages. A lot of home values went way down. And there's always fear that that could happen again, but that specific recession was so tied to the housing industry. I don't know if you're going to see $200,000 homes in the San Fernando Valley again, but I got to tell you, I know so many people that's when they bought in, and their homes are worth triple what they were 10 years ago.
And over time, thousands upon thousands of homes were lost. What ended up happening? Banks had a lot of foreclosures, didn't know how to sell them off piece by piece. So they just sold them at swaths at a time, 1,000 homes at a time, turned it over to hedge funds.
Yes. You ever heard the term REIT, where a corporation, a private equity firm, a hedge fund buys dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of homes at once, that seemed more feasible than auctioning off every single foreclosed home, which would have been interesting.
Hedge funds bought these properties for literally dimes on the dollar, sat on it, allowed the property value to grow over time. So not only did they make money through equity, they started renting it and collecting rent. If you think about it, this is a better scheme than playing the stock market because the common stock only pays you quarterly. You collect rent monthly.
And you build equity. He's right. I mean, he's actually doing way too good of a job of explaining why this is such a good investment. And then, it's funny, too, because we just talked about private equity firms earlier in the week because that's what's going on with that property in Torrance, where you have a hotel that was bought during the pandemic when a lot of people were about to go out of business. So this place got sold to a private equity firm for a song, and now they're trying to sell it back to the state of California in Project Homekey for 4 to 5 times what they paid for it.
So instead of 4 payments, you're collecting 12 payments. And this way, billions of dollars are leaving California today. That's one aspect. Second aspect.
And of course, a corporate landlord is a faceless company that hires a management company that's not as nice to work with as a mom and pop landlord. And what's interesting is all of the policies of the city of Los Angeles, the county of Los Angeles, and the state of California have driven out so many mom and pop landlords that when they decide they don't want to do this anymore, who buys that apartment building? The corporate landlords. Why do you think there's so many places called Avalon?
Second aspect, our residents, our constituents, the very people we're fighting for here are losing equity. Their future generations are losing equity. So, and I can go on and on this front, but bottom line is, there was a simple solution. Make sure that we don't allow corporations to purchase these properties, these single-family homes.
Okay, I'm listening.
Sacramento hasn't acted on it quickly, and I say that coming from the legislature. In fact, I had a bill that never got heard.
Apparently, there's been bills several times to do something about this, even as simple as I think there's one right now going around that would say if a company owns 1,000 homes in California, they can't buy any more. 1,000 homes! That one's just been introduced, but I don't know.
So here today, when I joined this body, one of the first acts, and I wanted it to be the first act, but procedurally, I introduced something else. This was my first act to make sure that we push ahead on ensuring that we protect single-family home ownership and allow it to be the precursor for generational wealth to be developed for families.
Well, we should also try to figure out how to make it cheaper, but there is a really strong argument that I don't know how you speak against when people are trying to buy that first home and they're getting outbid by Blackstone because they're paying cash. What do you do?
For the equity to develop, for middle class to be strengthened, and future generations to know that they have the benefit of family support in order to pursue their dreams. So fast forward, and then from December, when I introduced this, to January, when the horrific fires impacted homes and families in Palisades and Altadena. Now we have a greater need to make sure that corporations and hedge funds don't come and purchase these properties.
Which we just heard is already happening in Altadena. Half the homes that have been sold since the fires went to private equity.
Already in not the Palisades, but in Altadena, according to LA Times from a week ago, 80 burned down homes have been sold, majority of them to corporate owners.
Oh, wow. See, the story I had was from last week. It's already up to 80.
That already tells you where the trend is going. So we need to act. I've put this motion in so that we get a report back within 60 days from CLA to make sure we're on track to place a ballot measure for next year to make sure that at least the city of LA is taking the precautions necessary to protect homeowners and equity developers, family equity developers, so that we protect future generations, and we don't lose out the opportunity of becoming middle-class residents and constituents of Los Angeles. So with that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
And he got it. Everyone voted for it. So they're going to study this, and then they're going to possibly put this on the ballot next year. And that's where I'd love to hear what you think about this practice, what you think about this idea. The city of Los Angeles is talking about banning the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords. What do you think about this? Is this the right way to go, or is this overreach? 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Based on everything that's happened with the cost of housing in the state of California over the last decade, is it time to ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate developers? Should the only people who buy single-family homes be families? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Get on the light right now. I want to hear what you think about this. Should we ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. They said it wouldn't happen, but it's happening. People that can't wait 5 to 7 years to rebuild in Altadena, the majority of them are selling their lots to corporate landlords. I mean, who else is buying them at this point? And that has caused LA City Councilman Adrin Nazarian to explore a ballot measure that you might see on your ballot next year in the city of Los Angeles that would ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords. Based on what we've seen in places like San Diego, where a third of all homes sold go to a company like Blackstone, is it time to ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords, or is that complete overreach? Because you know what? You can invest in these hedge funds as well, and I bet you the pension funds of a whole bunch of government stuff is in those REITs as well. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Should we ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords? Let's go to John in Sherman Oaks. John, hello.
Hello, I have a personal experience I'd like to share. We bought our home in Sherman Oaks in 1998, and 2 years later, we refinanced. 2 years later, we refinanced again. We couldn't have rebought our house to ourselves. And now I get phone calls all the time. It was $230,000 when we bought it. They're offering us $1.3 million. And very likely it will be mowed down, and a very modern house will be built there. And they'll rent it out for about $15,000, just like what happened next door. But I'm a little bit torn about this. I do see the point of this council member. But, I mean, if I wanted to buy a home and rent it out, just to, like, supplement my income, I mean, would I be, ineligible from that or not be able to do that? I think do we start becoming, like, a little bit communist or Russian where you can't do that? My brother bought his first home when he was 18 years old, and he did the same thing. It was just like something, it was like a goal of his. So that's all I have to say.
I think you make a really good point. As far as I know, they want to go after just these companies that are buying thousands and thousands of homes. Because if they want to go after anybody that wants to use their home as a rental property, that is not going to pass. That is There is no public support for that. But when it comes to these equity firms that are buying up thousands of homes, some of these are foreign firms as well. How many homes are being bought by the Chinese?
Right. I see that. That is not good.
Well, thank you so much for the call, John. Appreciate it. I would definitely put an addendum to that. I don't think any foreign entity should be able to buy single-family homes or apartment buildings in the state of California, because we've seen what's happened. We've seen the crooked developments, all the ones that went through Jose Huizar, including the Tagger Tower. We've talked about this, how many vacant buildings there are. It's fascinating, right? As much as there's a housing shortage, there's also so many vacancies, whether it's commercial property or we're finding out all of this hotel rooms that they bought for Project Roomkey. They're sitting empty. There's so many vacancies, yet there's also a housing shortage. And part of that is we have a whole bunch of buildings that are just sitting there because they're bought by companies and not by people. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. What do you think about this? Councilman Adrin Nazarian wants to ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate entities. Do you think that's a fair proposition? How would you vote on that? Or do you think that's going too far? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think it's time to ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. Search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts and get us on YouTube. All you got to do is
do a Google on YouTube
and search for the KABC News Blitz. Hit subscribe, and every episode that you see, hit the like button. Helps us out with the algorithms on the YouTubes. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. LA City Councilman Adrin Nazarian in the San Fernando Valley is proposing a ballot measure in the city of Los Angeles that you could vote on next year that would ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords, companies like Blackstone, private equity firms that can pay all cash, which make it very difficult for people to buy homes in the state of California. 1/3 of all homes sold in San Diego last year were to one firm, Blackstone. Do you think it's time to ban the sale of single-family homes in Los Angeles, in the state of California, to corporate landlords, or does this go way too far? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Thad in San Gabriel. Thad, hello.
Hello. At first, I was against it, but I listened to the first call. I got to think about it a little more because it might be a slippery slope. There is previous legislation that wanted to charge you a huge tax if you had a home empty. So let's say you're a mom and pop landlord and you got a few units and you want to have them vacant for whatever reason. They wanted to charge you a huge tax to prevent that. So this might be a slippery slope. On a personal story, I moved to California 8 years ago from Chicago, and I was looking for a rental, and every place I called was owned by Warren Buffett. He's a hypocrite. He's for the people. No, he's not. Every house I called to rent was owned by Berkshire Hathaway. I said I had pets and a child. Click. They never even returned my call. I eventually did rent a house, and the lady was from Taiwan, and she lived in Vancouver. So you could also ban non-U.S. citizens from buying houses, but that will never get passed. But another thing that no one's talking about, and this idea of generational wealth, that is completely wrong. You have to take care of the property taxes. And they keep attacking Proposition 13 in California. The last election, thank God the ballot failed. They wanted to lower the threshold to change it to 50%. The voters out there have to realize Proposition 13 is being attacked, and the property taxes are going to skyrocket if they get rid of that. Case in point, San Diego's $500 million in the hole. LA's $1 billion in the hole. How are they going to raise that money? They're going to go after special levies on property taxes. And then all these people in Altadena, they're going to have to pay Melrose more property tax to rebuild. So it's much more complicated than Adrian says, and I think the focus should be on protecting Proposition 13. A house for $600,000 in Chicago, your property taxes are well over $20,000. You buy a house for $1 million, California, you're at $12,000. Who can afford that? So,
you're so right about that. And that's something that we have to be vigilant about every single election, Thad. Every election that I have covered on this radio station, which would be 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2024, every single one, there was something on the ballot, whether it was locally or statewide, that wanted to raise property taxes. So it's something we have to be vigilant about every single election. And if there's anything like that that's going on the ballot in 2026, you'll be sure that we're going after it because it's already so unbelievably expensive to live here. Thanks so much for the call, Thad. Appreciate it. Let's go to Carmen in Whittier. Carmen, hello.
Hey, Randy. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So I think the corporations, I don't think they should be banned. I think they should have a cap on maybe their percentage of their portfolio that they have of rentals or single-family homes.
Well, that's an interesting one. Actually, that's something that's going through the state right now. I think Alex Lee put this forward, but he put it forward last year and it died in committee. But it would say that a corporate landlord like a Blackstone could only own 1,000 homes in the state of California. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I don't think they should be banned because, like you were saying earlier about retirement accounts and hedge funds, I'm sure my retirement's somehow tied in there. And we still want them to be profitable, but we don't want them monopolizing the rental market.
It is something worth looking at for everyone that is completely against a private equity firm like that, and you have every legitimate reason to be. We should see where your retirement money is going towards, because I'm sure some of the pension funds in the state of California are going right to those hedge funds, because that's usually how this works. Thanks so much for the call, Carmen. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Bob in Encino. Bob, hello.
Hey, how are you? My thoughts are... So I kind of came in late on this, but if we're trying to solve the home affordability, let's not ban corporations. We may look into some regulation, but let's look into why are these so expensive homes here? Why is it $600 to build a house here and $150, $200 in Carolina? Let's look into that. Let's be creative with mortgages that don't cost the taxpayer down the line, but earn their way into the mortgage market, like equity sharing with federally backed mortgages, that sort of thing. How about a 60-year mortgage? Because buying a home is no longer about paying it off. It's about every 7 years you're moving out, moving up. So let's figure that out. Also, as far as the I think we need to concentrate on Prop 13, and I think there are ups and downs with corporations buying homes, but also they buy a lot of. They usually upgrade or fix up a home before they rent it out or sell it. So realtors aren't going to get behind banning corporations either. That's their bread and butter.
There's so many interests in this. I'd be surprised if this thing actually makes it to the ballot, because Adrin Nazarian was in the assembly for many years and tried to get this passed in Sacramento, and even Sacramento wouldn't do it. So I don't know if this is the answer. It's an interesting conversation to have, but you're right. There are so many other aspects to this, Bob, including why is it so expensive to build here?
Let's not let maybe they think they're doing good by us, but let's not let these politicians, civil servants, off the hook by dumping on a corporation, and let's concentrate on the root cause and not the symptom.
I love that. Thanks so much for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Jerry in West LA. Jerry, hello.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Doing great.
I've been listening a bit, and just in terms of corporations buying, condos, houses, whatever, I think the problem is that if they do buy them, they're going to try to find laws to, God forbid, have homeless living in some of these encampments, getting state and federal subsidies on it, and that could be a catastrophe. I live not too far from a building. It's about 16 stories tall. It's been vacant for the last 4 years, and I know that they're trying to get some way to get, the housing, the homeless, which I'm compassionate about, but I don't want them living in my neighborhood. My house is $5.5 million. the more and more this happens, it's going to completely depreciating. Businesses are leaving. People are fed up with California. And if the studios decide to leave, I think Los Angeles is going to suffer a tremendous depreciation on property. And we need to cut state taxes. We need to cut the taxes on gasoline. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't see much of a future unless you live in a really ritzy, glitzy area like Santa Barbara or some other, Carmel, those areas. I think there's just no hope or no future. And I see more and more of these ADUs being built. That means there's more traffic. They're trying to build more condominiums and apartments, more traffic, more problems, and those are all run by corporations. So I just don't have the answer. But unless we get rid of our politicians, all of them, from Bass to the council to the governor, to the people who really understand business and the outcome and preserving our state, I just have to sit here. I'd move tomorrow, but my wife wants to stay here. So what am I going to do? I've been married 45 years. I can't do it. So
I feel you, buddy. And the good news is there's an election coming up in 2026. We have chances to replace the governor. We have chances to replace the mayor. Boards of supervisors, members of the assembly, the state senate, city councilors is always an opportunity to right the ship. And you're right there. It's really interesting what you said about, when it comes to, are we going to have corporations buy homes to turn them into homeless shelters? Because that's what actually is going on with a lot of these hotels and motels. See, we had a lot of hotels and motels that were going to go under during COVID because obviously no one was using them. And so private equity bought these things for a song. And now thanks to Gavin Newsom's Project Room Key, they're selling them back to the state for 5 times what they paid for it. And they're filling them with homeless.
Yeah, I don't think we can wait that. I think we have to recall them now. Every day we wait is another nail in the coffin. I just don't think we can wait. And I know Californians are intelligent, they're good people, but we need to throw all of these people out today because we'll be their next victims, and then all hell will break loose, as it is right now with the crime, with the homeless. Everywhere I drive. I'm driving home right now. I live in a beautiful neighborhood, but am I paying taxes to see homeless on the streets, camped out, to see kids involved in crime? I mean, the problems are endless, and I think we need to tell the world not to come to the Olympics or come to the World Cup until L.A. and California gets its act together. And as you said, we still have time if we can throw these bums, literally bums who don't know anything about business, out now, today. We can't wait, but that's just the way I feel.
Well, I love your passion, buddy. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. LA City Councilman Adrin Nazarian wants to ban the sale of single-family homes to corporate landlords. What do you think? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's go back to the phones. Go to Diego in Encino. Diego, hello.
Hey, yeah, I've got rentals in Texas, and I know that I pay more property tax than owner-occupied, so that might be a solution. And I don't think the 1,000 limit will work because they'll just create corporations with 1,000 houses each. So that idea is scratched.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, they will definitely split up into smaller entities, and there'll be dozens of places that have just 1,000 in their portfolio, but they're really all under the same branch. So that is really smart. And yeah, maybe that's the idea. Maybe Blackstone's got to pay a higher property tax rate than a single-family homeowner. Give it a little more even playing field. What?
Yeah, we all win with higher property taxes if they're paying because it helps us all out too.
Yeah, and maybe we can lower our property taxes. I'd love that. Thanks so much for the call, Diego. Appreciate it. Hey, look at this. 790 KABC welcomes Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening at the Greek Theater on May 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Nederlander Concerts. Good luck dialing. More of your calls coming up next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Hey, Randy, everybody knows there are good and bad corporations, but this SAGE group, this so-called nonprofit, should set off alarm bells. I've had it up to here with nonprofits recently because they usually turn out to be socialism, equity scam operations. And don't forget, those are corporations too. They say they're nonprofit, which is a misnomer because they're flooded with money, including taxpayer money and private equity money, and they've been up to a lot of mischief lately. And by the way, do we really want this crew in LA City Council, Heather Hutt, who can't do math, Curran Price, who's probably on his way to federal prison for corruption, Ulysses, who wants heroin needles for drug addicts, Nithya, who has contempt for homeowners in her district, Imelda Padilla, author of Broken Windy Theory, Isabel Gerardo. It's like TikTok in the movies. And Hugo, don't criminalize candidates to converters. Do we want these people controlling the private real estate economy?
That is a very, 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 very good point. And considering how corrupt so many members of the city council, current and past, have been when it comes to real estate deals, these are the last people we want deciding any of this. And you're right. Nonprofits are just corporations that don't pay taxes.
That's right. And they use mostly other people's money. And most important of all, the people running them are often millionaires. Don't forget that.
You're totally right. And there's a lot of corruption going on there. You should have seen what I read today about all the nonprofits Rob Bonta started when he was in the assembly. Thanks so much for the call, Bill. If you ever miss an episode of this show, go to kebc.com/newsblitz. Search for the News Blitz with Randy Wang wherever you get your podcast. And we'd really love if you do this. Google us on the YouTube. Search for the KBC News Blitz, and you'll see our show pop up. Click on one of the episodes, hit like. It'll spread us around the algorithm. It's so funny. If I search for like Ulysses Hernandez and I scroll down 3 videos, we're the 4th video right there. One of ours. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.